Hello and welcome everyone to the STLTechTalk review of the Nokia Lumia 2520. It has full NFC, HD display, 1920 by 1080, Qualcomm quad-core Snapdragon 800 processor, fast charging, 6.7 Carl Zeiss camera, megapixel, 2 megapixel camera in the front, a Wi-Fi A/B/G/N with Miracast, 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, micro SD card, HC jack card slot, micro USB port 3.0, micro HDMI, Bluetooth 4.0, low energy, stereo speakers that do a great job. And I just can't say enough about this device. It's fantastic. Comes preloaded with Windows RT 8.1. Verizon's LTE is on board and it's certified. It says here it's certified, so that's kind of nice. Basically, the box should really tell you a lot about the device itself. It's a fantastic device that I think is gonna be a big hit for Windows fans and like people who are trying to get into the Windows ecosystem a little bit. I think that people are really going to like it a lot. It's a very nice consumption device. Let's go ahead and get started. Looking at here, we have just pulling it out of the box, the Lumia 2520. It's very light in the hand. Has a camera that you just saw there close up. All these little arrows pointing to the different capacitive buttons and things around the back is very, it's a fingerprint magnet on the front and the back, but very, very thin profile. Right here this is where it's going to get confusing. On the left hand side you have the power jack, on the right hand side you have the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. So if it's not confusing, the little power cable is actually the same size as the headphone jack, so that's really confusing. But if we look here, we can see that, let's see, go ahead. The volume rockers, we got up and down, power and lock, USB 3.0 right here on the side, as well as HDMI out. And there's your 3.0 USB. We have the power lock button. You got to really kind of arch your finger. It's really just sits very, very close to the actual profile of the device itself. Micro SD card, micro SIM card, that's for the LTE wireless bands. You just go ahead and stick the little pin down in there and it pops out the tray. And then here's your headset jack. Looking at the back of the device, again you have NFC. Looking at the front, I just want to take a quick look at the inside of the box. Inside the box we have, let me go ahead and pop this open. We have on the right your getting to know your device. A lot of nice little material there. Welcome to Windows. There is a little bit of a learning curve here because it's not your mother's Windows or your dad's Windows or whatever the case may be. It's a very different concept behind Windows. Anyways, you get your start screen set up here where you can walk through all the necessary information. That's kind of nice there. And again, these boxes from Verizon are just fantastic. There's nothing else in there in the corner. That's just kind of separate the right from the left here. On the left hand side we get the power cable, and we also get the pinhole, so you can get into the I don't even know what you exactly call it, but it's not necessarily called anything in particular other than it's the unlock button there. See, that's what I was talking about with 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. Does not come away from the charger, which is kind of interesting because most chargers you can pull out and stick in your computer, so it's a little interesting there. Regional language, okay, so we got United States. Okay, so right here is the first screen you'll see when it pops up and turns on. Now you have to have it plugged in because the battery's not so hot when you first get it. Also, they want you to make sure that all the power is working correctly. Now on the screen, it's sort of red. It's in between red and yellow. It's kind of orange, but it's not necessarily the screen here and the viewing quality. It doesn't exactly do it justice. It's very, very crisp, very nice. You scroll through all these settings. These are your express settings. You can come back and customize all these later, which I suggest that you do. Now it's setting up. We'll go ahead and just show you. See that little red tint there for a quick second? That's what I'm looking at. Let's see here. Sign in with your Microsoft account. Okay, so here's where you put in your name and all your pertinent information, last name, email address, create a password, re-enter your password, country and region, things of that nature. That's if you do not already have a Microsoft account. But saying that you do, or you don't, rather, the typing on this thing, right away, you'll notice that the on-screen keyboard is fantastic. Also, in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see you can change the different kinds of keyboards, the on-screen keyboards that you have. So it's very interesting. Also, once you get done setting up, you'll see your account through SkyDrive. Now, SkyDrive is very important. You should always have, be aware of what SkyDrive is, but SkyDrive is where you store all of your information. Right here, we have the front camera as well as one of the stereo speakers. That stereo speaker and these stereo speakers, there's your microphone there I just circled. Getting to know your apps. In the top right hand corner, that's where the speaker, the microphone is, but the speaker on this thing is amazing. They're facing towards you, the front facing speakers instead of speakers that are on the back of the device. Now looking at the device here, beautiful display, really pops, really gives you exactly the experience that you would expect from a Nokia Lumia device. It's just a really well done device. And it's very quick. It's very, very quick. Some of the Nokia apps, right here, this is just normal tutorials. When you first start up the device, you're going to have to go through a couple of tutorials just to kind of swipe in from the left, swipe in from the right, things of that nature. This is getting to know your device. It also tells you a little bit more in depth on the websites and on our website and others. But Nokia does a really good job here of explaining what these tiles are with the user guide, through the setup, to getting to know your device, switch your tablet on or off. It really walks you through and does a good job. Where I think Windows falls just a hair short because there are a lot of people that still don't really know how to use these things, and especially with this being a really just touch-centric device, because it's not even available right now for the touch cover. Not the touch, well, their version of the type cover rather. But we'll get into that. This is snapping something from left to right. So I tapped on one of those links and it brought one of those links, and now I can resize and what they call quote unquote snap in Microsoft. I can snap left or right to applications, and I'll do this again a couple more times just to kind of show you. But this is a really light device. I can't get over how light this device is, especially the fact that it has NFC and a massive, really, really nice battery. It's got a fantastic battery. So going back to the home screen here, we see weather, our normal standard. All these applications come on every Windows device, tablet, anyways. Now this is running RT, so you're not going to see the desktop right off the bat. So in order to get to the desktop, I'll show you that here in just a second. Okay, we're going to personalize this thing. So here's where you can come in. You can change the colors of the backgrounds. You swipe in from the right, then you go ahead and change the profile colors and all that kind of thing. Let's see here. Now updates are done automatically with Windows 8.1. You really don't need to worry about those kinds of things. Let me go ahead. When you first start off with the device. Now this is Nokia Music, but it's going to change to Nokia Mix or Mix Radio. And then your overall tiles you can resize. You've got to press and hold. Then you can name groups. You can put tiles in different groups. So if you wanted all the news in one spot, or if you wanted all your games in one particular area, you would be able to do that. And down here in the lower left, that's where essentially most of the Microsoft applications are, as far as like Office, Word, and OneNote, PowerPoint, just all those that are necessary, especially for kids going to school. This is a really good, really good tablet for that if you wanted to take notes. But here's where the desktop is. So you press and hold it, pin it to your start screen, then you tap on it, and this is the home screen that most people are familiar with. This is a background that I took when I went to Colorado, so you don't get that standard. Sorry, that's just a me thing. To check your mobile broadband network, you swipe in from the right, and then go ahead and do it that way. Okay, so we'll go ahead and go back home. Now back on the home screen here, just wanted to go ahead and show you that pressing this home screen and that home screen, the capacitive button and the on-screen button takes you to the same place. Now that we hop on the internet, we can see it's very, very fast and responsive. You know, a lot of this has to do with the fact that it's running on an 8,000 milliamp battery over Verizon's 4G LTE. It's lightning fast. It's really, really quick. This application is loading for the very first time, so it's going to take just a quick sec. Having said that, looking around, look how, I mean, it's very quick, very, very quick. Microsoft has done a really good job with RT, making sure that it's optimized for these ARM processor devices. Also, just want to let you know that it's running clear black technology, LCD screen, Gorilla Glass 2, and it also has expandable memory with 32 to 64 gigabytes worth of the micro SD cards. Okay, going to go back and forth here. Okay, so this is going to pull up basically an app inside of an app, if you will, or a link using Bing Sports. Okay, and this shows you a play-by-play so you can track the game. But that's really fast. I mean, for this internet connection is crazy. Believe it or not, though, it's only 8 megabytes down and 3 up, so it's really kind of crazy how fast this thing can process this information. This is landscape, portrait mode, landscape mode, portrait mode, landscape mode, all those kinds of things. I've really found that this is a consumption device, like many of the other devices that I've reviewed this over the past year. Looking down here, again, this device is no different. This is definitely a consumption device, and I could see some people reading, you know, like reading almost like going old school and reading like a paper or something. Here is Nokia Here Maps. Doesn't like it when you want to hold it in the landscape and portrait mode there. It has a specific type. It likes this mode. So looking at an overall view, or the map, the Here Maps, you can do searches for food, what's popular in the area, what other people have gone to, look at and see, and all those kinds of things. Here Maps is really neat. It is really helpful. It has been a little iffy now and then, but for the most part, I really enjoy it. Over here, you can go to going out. Like if there was an event, there's none anywhere close to me because apparently I live in the middle of nowhere where nothing happens. Sites, museums, all those kinds of things. So hopping on over to the Windows Store, you're only going to be able to download applications, and this is very important. You can't download things like Google Chrome. You can't download things like Firefox. You can't download things that run on legacy Windows devices. But you can download all the 150,000 plus applications in the Windows Store. So as we flip through the Windows Store here, there's a couple of ways you can get to it, but here I want to just kind of show off the sound quality. It's amazing.
Bounty's been doubled. I've come to collect your head in a box.
So yet again, we play for blood.
So here we have Xbox Music, and as you could just hear, the sound quality really just doesn't do it justice. You got to either go into a store or get one of these for yourself. I mean, these stereo speakers that are pointed right at you totally makes sense, and it looks great. You can't even tell from, you know, looking at the device that you're not even bothered by the speakers at all. It automatically Xbox Music automatically uploads your collection. So I already had some in my collection. I went ahead and did that. You can go to Update and Recovery to check and see for Windows updates. There's also, you can start all over again. You can repartition it, so to speak, off of say a disk or an ISO or whatever the case may be. Here's where you can add things to your lock screen. And looking here, we found the applications. Right here shows the size of all your applications for people who are kind of conscious of how much the space some of the applications actually take up on your device. It says 18, or 18.5 gigabytes free out of your, however many, 32, I believe is the standard. Going back to the desktop here, let's go ahead and show you real quick. Press and hold on that start button. It'll give you a whole bunch of different choices. You can go to the old school control panel. I wouldn't suggest living in that world. I would really start getting used to living in the Metro style world, or what they call the modern UI of Windows. So just taking a look here. A lot of people are going to be checking it out for news reasons. So here's Bing News. Really a huge fan of this application. If you're not using it, you're kind of missing out if you have Windows 8. But if you're getting this for the very first time, this is a fantastic aggregate of all your news. I usually come to technology and science. You don't want too much into politics because you'll go crazy. But looking here, let's just hop back and forth between applications to kind of show you what's going on. We got Word, really, really neat. That you can snap all these features and from one side to the other. So say if I wanted to look at my news sources, just going back a little bit here to Bing News, looking at the Bing's, the sources where Bing News pulls all of its information from, you can actually change where those, like you got The Guardian, The Verge, Associated Press, all those kinds of things. You can actually tell it, the application Bing News, where to pull in that information from. So that's pretty cool. So say we looked at, let's see, STLTechTalk, okay. And now this has got Bing Search really heavily integrated into the device. If you start typing from the home screen, automatically Bing results are going to come up. That's the search engine that it uses to find almost everything. Okay, here we have our website, STLTechTalk.com. I suggest everybody go visit it, by the way. It's snowing here. It's a nice warm 18 degrees. So very, very fast, very responsive. It's using IE11. Doesn't necessarily run Flash. there are some workarounds, quote unquote workarounds for Flash, but it's kind of still a pain to run on the Windows RT. Not unlike the experience that you get on an Android tablet or an iOS tablet. So we're going to go ahead and snap this application to the left. We're going to find another application or web page. So on the left here, you see we have the fully functional news application. On the right, we have the browser where I can go up and down, back and forth. Doesn't matter. They're two separate applications running side by side. That's pretty amazing. I mean, for a touch device, to be able to have that kind of dual functionality is really nice, especially using this device as a consumption device. If you're wanting to check a news story against another story, or if you're wanting to just look at some more information with two screens, if you're an information junkie, this is definitely the way to do it. It's very, very cool. So here's the camera application. You'll notice that the little light at the top of the device pops on. It's a green light just to let you know that the camera application is on right there. So on the right hand side you have your video recording, your normal picture taking. So I just tapped that, it took a picture. Video recording, it'll probably prompt you for something first, like just to let you know that it's coming on. There's no press and hold like some of the Nokia 360 applications. You can change it. Hey, look at me, I got a huge beard. And then the panorama application, if I can actually say that, you have here, and which is really, really cool, by the way, if you're wanting to do a shot of just a globe shot kind of. But again, that front-facing camera, the light right above it's really nice. It'll pop on. So here is that panorama application. I'll just kind of show you. I'm stuck in a box. Let me out of the box. So you can go all the way around 360, and it's really, really, really neat. There's a lot of stuff that you can do there, so I'll get into that in another post some other time. Let me go ahead and look for... Oh, here's something that I really like. Okay, so say you have one application here or a news story that you find. This is going to be very helpful. Hit the share link and then go ahead and go to your reading list. And now this is personal. This syncs across all your devices, your laptop, your desktop, your phone, not your phone yet, but your other tablets or whatever the case may be. So if you go to your readings list, bam. Once you save it there, it's there. Something that's really, really cool I suggest everybody check out. Okay, and let me go ahead and take a look at the rest of it. Go back home. Again, you really got to arch your finger to turn this thing on and off. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and show you what not a lot of sites do, which is this thing outside. Essentially, a lot of people are going to be using this device outside. So, on a day where it's pretty cloudy, not direct sunlight, but kind of indirect sunlight, here, this is what the screen looks like. Fingerprint magnet, sure, but I mean, that screen is beautiful and it really shines through in a nice way. And now it's 10.1 inches, so that's not a crazy aspect ratio. In fact, I think it's a fantastic aspect ratio for watching movies and even reading papers, because I've been turning the device vertical constantly now. So this is direct sunlight. With the sun right over my right shoulder, you can see this here, obviously reflection of the trees. Let's go ahead and take a look at like a news application or even a sports thing here. So you can still see it. I mean, looking at this device, say, if we were looking at Kindle, good example right here, boom. This is what you'd be looking at in direct sunlight. You can still see this thing. You can still see the screen. And it's not killing the battery. Again, I was a little off earlier on the battery thing. It's 8,120 milliamps. This is the Surface Pro next to the Lumia 2520. This is a more basic shot. Here you can see that the one on the left is the Pro. It hangs just a little higher than the one on the right. The one on the left, again, is the Pro. The one on the right is the Lumia 2520. You can see here, because of the backlit display, this is kind of the way the display is designed, it does consume more battery life, but it is a little bit more crisp to me. Could be for other people, but it's the same, essentially the same screen. It's 19 by 20, 1080p. So I don't see a huge difference, but there's a definite difference in color as far as the warmth of the color. So here is the honkin' Surface Pro on the bottom and the Lumia 2520 on the top. Just a couple of shots of that for you. Some of our readers like that. And then right next to each other, the Surface 2 and the Lumia 2520 is on the right again. So just to show you the difference in display, not really all that different, but I gotta kind of give the edge a little bit to the one on the right, which is the 2520, just because of the warm colors. And I think that a lot of that has to do with Nokia's clear black technology and a couple other different technologies that they use to really bring that color forward and make it pop. So if we were to look at two applications side by side, you'll notice, there is a little bit of a difference, not a huge difference, but a little bit of a difference. Let's go ahead and, see, you can see the one on the right is the 2520. It's already had all that information pulled up. The one on the left is running off of Wi-Fi. That's how fast Verizon's LTE network is, even in and around the St. Louis area. And that's it. Thank you very much, Verizon and Adriana. Go to your local St. Louis Verizon store and go ahead and get this device. It's fantastic. I think you're going to like it a lot. And again, thank you so much, Adriana, for letting us play with these toys.